The seeds of failure are sown in what could have been green when you choose being liked over being seen. The world says, pick a struggle. And instead of fighting to stay true to you, you choose instead everything that you will have to do to be Dr. Jekyll in their eyes, constantly at their glance quieting your unusual Mr. Hyde. And the second you realize, like I did, that I do all of this just to hear them say they like me, that for a term of endearment, that term is rather icy, the self-proclaimed righteous united throw rocks, because unity today means shoving incomprehensible humans into a tidy labeled box. They won't bruise your skin or break your bones. They don't use those kinds of stones. These people are smart. Instead, they will aim for what sets you apart. Diversity, after all, isn't only skin deep. It is inward, it is precious, and conformity is cheap. Oftentimes, we use unity as a synonym for conformity. We use them interchangeably. We act as if the ultimate goal of being unified is looking a lot like this. It's seeking out things in other people that mirror ourselves. It's quieting things about ourselves that help us to be able to relate to other people. This type of unity produces comfortability. That's the end goal. I would argue that this type of unity is extremely important in times of tragedy, heartbreak, trials. You need a community that's going to be able to relate to you, to see you, to be able to feel what you're feeling. But you and I, we don't need that type of unity that produces comfortability. We already have it. We are incredibly blessed. We live a life of privilege, so we need a unity that produces excellence. A unity that produces excellence does not crumble under the weight of diversity. It thrives off of what each and every person brings to the table. It shows people that not everything is one size fits all, and that's okay. Gandhi once said that the ability of our civilization to reach unity in diversity will be the beauty and the test of our civilization. This means that when we change our perspective of unity, we are simultaneously shifting our definition of diversity. Diversity isn't just what you see with your eyes right away. It isn't just the color of a person's skin, where they come from, who they come from. There is a diversity with more depth, a diversity that makes you you because of your talents, your desires, your giftings, your weaknesses, your strengths. All of these things make you who you are, and they make our society incredibly diverse. I think that as humans, we wait for someone to look past our skin and get to know who we really are and appreciate it and value it. I think that's why from a very young age I was obsessed with these online personality quizzes that would tell me what food I was, what animal, what color, those silly little things. It even got to the point where when I watched something on TV, I would take a quiz to tell me which character from the show I was most like. I mean, if you guys haven't taken one of those quizzes, you really should, because I enjoyed them so much. But I never truly believed them. I mean, I was pretty skeptical of anything that placed hundreds of people into one of 8 categories. But it hinted at truth. And at that time, that was enough. Recently, however, not so much. That's why this past summer, I entered an internship in my church, where we focused on leadership, team building, all that good stuff. I thought, well, my preconceived notion that I had built up in my mind is that it would be parallel to any other school or work setting where everybody came in with a solidified perception of themselves. This is who I am, this is what I do, nothing's going to change. And the only thing that we would be working on to become efficient is pleasantries, politeness, learning each other's behaviors. What can I do to not step on your toes? What can you do to not step on my toes? What I saw was that did not make us efficient. It was actually counterproductive. It didn't lead us anywhere. So we united, made a decision. And our decision was that we would consider authenticity to be more productive than pleasantries or politeness. This became the first environment that I was a part of where it felt like I had the key to all the little locks in someone's mind, and they had the key to all the little locks in mine. And we were able to recognize things in each other and say, oh, look at that. You are a wonderful speaker. Oh, look at that. You know how to love people so incredibly. Look at that. You can influence people in amazing ways. And I soon learned that my strengths gave other people room to be weak, and their strengths made it okay for me to make mistakes. Never in my life have I been more unified with the people that I've collaborated with. The special thing was, after that summer, we weren't just a highly efficient team of people, we were also an incredible group of friends. And that meant the world to me. There is a saying, very cliche, I'm sure we've all heard it, show me your friends and I will show you your future. I know we've all heard it, but trust me, I've heard it the most because I'm reminded of it every single time my mom opens Facebook. Like, I hear it all the time. And I think that the reason that is because there's truth behind that. Show me how your people encourage you, and I will show you how much of your potential you will actually realize. I adore compliments. I adore when people are like, I love your sweater, those pants look so good on you, where'd you get them from? I love your shoes. All those types of things, they're great. But I rarely remember them though. There is one compliment in particular that I do remember, and it's been 3 years since I've been told it, and I'm pretty sure I'll continue to remember it for the rest of my life. In the freshman year of high school, my teacher told me, Alice, when you speak, people listen. When he said this to me, I realized that he saw me with eyes, not only seeing me as a product of who I am today and what gifts I have today and what I am doing today, but as a product of all the wonderful tomorrows that I will be a part of, all the wonderful tomorrows that my gifting will contribute to. This is what I like to call prophetic eyes. It's seeing people not only as a product of their circumstance, but being able to see them so far ahead in the future, all the best parts of them. This was really important to me. And I think that this can really influence the way that we speak to each other. I mean, think about it this way. You have a friend, and they're running a marathon, and right before they cross the finish line, they stop right there, and they refuse to cross. We as a society have grown pretty used to saying, relax, take a step back, take a breath, I like your shoes. Is that support? That's not support. For me, I think we need to get passionate. I think we need to say, friend, get up. I know your talents. I know your abilities. I know how hard you have trained for this. I know that you can make it across the finish line, so don't let me see you giving up all that you are and wasting all the potential that you have. That is support. But you will not be able to convince someone to cross the finish line if in your eyes they're not already there. That's the power of prophetic eyes. Here's a bit of an unpopular opinion. When it comes to relationships and seeing something special in someone, it doesn't always take one to know one. I know that we're so used to this concept because we live in such a me, I, self-centered society. We need to escape our own little personal bubble. I mean, it's healthy to be able to pick up the mirror and find beauty in what you see, but it's also healthy to be able to put the mirror down, look around you, and see what is beautiful there as well, in other people, in other places, and other things. This is what I call a humble spirit. Think about it. How often do we compliment our friends or encourage our peers with a degree of humility? Not to get them to like us or think we're so great and we're so kind, but to actually genuinely propel their life forward. Not to only make them feel great for about 5 seconds, but to make them be great. I think that this alleviates a lot of the pressure on ourselves because we don't have to be a reflection of everything that is beauty in the world. There is other goodness besides just us. That's a gift that you can give not only to yourself, but also to the people around you. I have tried to put this into practice recently, looking at people with prophetic eyes and a humble spirit and pursuing unity in that way. I set a challenge for myself this past October that for the next year, each time someone close to me, someone that I loved, celebrated a birthday, I would write them a personalized poem inspired only by them, something that was truly just like the poem came into existence because they were who they were. I thought that would be really special. So let me explain the writing process to you. It was a little bit like I would look around in the world and I would see everyday objects, that we see or use every day, and I would write about that object until I pointed out the person's most vibrant personality traits so they could in turn be associated with that object. That's pretty confusing, so let me give you an example. I wanted my best friend to be able to take a walk at night, look up at the moon, and say, "That's me." The way that the moon is mighty is the way that I am mighty. I tug my dreams forward, closer to me. I chase after what I want the way that the moon tugs at the tide. I wanted my friends to be able to see themselves in that type of way. I have never been more unified with the people that I have loved. You see, me and you, we have the ability to connect with people on this level. You can change someone's life entirely with no other prerequisite other than the fact that you're human. Just with the breath in your lungs, you have the power to be a modern-day Michelangelo when he said, "I saw the angel in the marble and I carved until I set him free." But you and I, we're modern-day Michelangelos that don't work with marble. We work with human hearts, and that is a lot more precious. You see, something that really changed in my life when I learned the concept of looking at a unified whole as a product of its individual parts is, during a certain period of my life, I felt extremely disconnected from my culture. I was born in Egypt, and for a long time, I felt like I wasn't really living my life as Egyptian or as American or as anything, kind of as some sort of other that didn't want to identify with any of it. I think, to me, I saw being Egyptian as this looming factor that was waiting to swallow you up and white out everything that makes you you and replace it with everything that makes you Egyptian or you American or you whatever your culture is. And I didn't want that. I didn't want to be bound by the chains of that. It was like all the men's faces kind of blurred into the face of one man that may have spoken harshly to me once. All the women's faces kind of melted into the face of one woman that may have judged me once. All the little children were just one little child who may have not smiled back at me when I smiled at them. And all the kids my age, they held no nuance in my eyes. I believed that I would never fit in with them because I was not exactly alike and because I was unwilling to compromise any piece of me. After a while of living this way, I looked back with a lot of remorse, guilt, and regret. I realized how much richness I had missed out on along the way, how much brotherhood, sisterhood that there was in my community, how much beauty that I was ignoring because of my own preconceived notions. So I made a choice. I chose to reintegrate myself back into my culture, not focused on who likes me or who I like or what people's personalities complement mine or anything like that. This time I was focused on getting to know each individual person as who they were behind the mask that I had put on them because of my preconceived notions. What this did is it made me extremely unified with my culture. Never in my life have I felt more unified with a community. Honestly, I think that that's where the turning point in who I was. You see, Gandhi and Michelangelo, they both knew that when you see a spark inside of someone and you do not rush over to fan the flames of their individuality, you will be complicit in the cold of disunity that follows. That's our responsibility. You will often think about, like I did, of the time that you could have passionately, wholeheartedly, unapologetically allowed yourself to be different from people, allowed them to be different from you, and pursued a unity that would have created excellence. All you would have needed for this are prophetic eyes and a little bit of humility. Thank you.